Michael Frank take in this match on first match of the day, day 4 at the American 14.1 Straight Pool Championships at Diamond Billiards. So lag for break. This is a race to 100. This is we're going to wrap up the round robin play today. I think we have 4 rounds of matches of that, and then we'll play a couple. Get started on the single elimination round with 24 players.
And the race is in the round when it reduces to 24 players. What are the races to? I forgot.
We're going to move up to 125, Michael. Just a little more importance. Get a little longer game and make sure the contest is fair. 125 really is still a little short.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But, many of these guys are heading on down to the U.S. Open, which is just an hour and a half away. So, we don't want to keep them too long.
No, but with all the 100-ball runs we've seen here,
yes.
Almost in every round, there's been at least one 100-ball run.
Yeah, and if you watched, I think our last match last night, Lee Van Corteza versus his opponent, who I think didn't get to shoot much.
Didn't get to shoot.
David Al-Qaeda.
That was a perfect
He was
game,
a great
right?
player. He just never
got to.
I didn't see the beginning of the match, but I'm guessing he lost the safety battle, and Lee Van won 100 now right here on the stream.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly what happened. So that's a perfect game.
So Steve Kurtz, I see you out there. Do we sound okay, or are we talking too loud? Or Christy? All right, that's a fair break. He's really got his cue ball frozen to that back rail. There are a couple shots, but certainly challenging for 10:30 in the morning for your first shot.
Well, I think what makes straight pool so fascinating is exactly this. Because a lot of times the players do not see a lot of difficult shots being made because the cue ball control of the really good straight pool players is good and the positioning is good. But if you can't make these kind of shots when you have to, you cannot win. In any kind of a competition like this, you can't finish anywhere.
So he's going to shoot this one ball down here in the corner pocket. We do have a color problem on the monitor, so I'm watching on my little phone.
So he hit that very well.
Yeah, it's always nice to get that one on your belt. You get the first crack at making some balls, and kind of get the pressure going on the other guy. Yeah, Steve, we have a fixed camera. We would have to climb up and interrupt their match. We may adjust that before the next match. Looks like he's got a ball on the side he's considering, but maybe it's just a little too tight in there. Yeah, it looks more like he's going to shoot this straight ball down the bottom and kind of go up into the.
So that's the other part of it. It's all about concentration, and that was compared to the first shot he had, that was a really easy shot, but he was thinking about the cue ball, where the cue ball was going to travel, where he wanted to place next, and caused him to jump up.
And that's really the endless battle in straight pool, isn't it? You've got your focus divided between the shot and what's going to happen with your cue ball.
Yes.
And you really need to get back to that shot as maybe your last thought.
Yeah, it just shows you in the game itself, you can't take anything for granted.
So we'll see if Mike can solve this table. There's plenty of work to do here. In fact, he may have to shoot a combination just to. Not sure what he's doing here.
Looks like he's cutting it.
Maybe he's going to back cut this 3-ball.
It looks like he's back cutting it. Yes, it does. That's exactly. There's a big reward if he makes that shot because the rack's going to split, and it did. So he's
That was really a beautiful
it's
shot.
a very good shot, and he's in good shape as a result of it.
So now he needs to maintain his focus, right?
Yeah, he needs to keep.
Steve, it's still only 10:33 maybe. So
Yeah.
just because you put one great shot under your belt doesn't mean that the easy ones are all going to go. So, but certainly, I mean that spread very nicely. There's barely anything touching here. We're playing all ball fouls, so he's very concerned about his hand bridging up over those balls.
And I think the consensus of the players is that the table we're webcasting from, wirecasting from, is the most difficult table to play on. So it's quite an accomplishment to see 100 ball runs on this table.
I think I will run out and move the scoreboard just a hair. Maybe we'll be able to see Mike's score.
All right.
I don't want to play with the logos on the screen. I might mess something up. That's a good idea, though. Maybe we'll get that done for the next match here.
So have you seen Steve Matthieu play much? I mean, Mike Davis has spent a lot of time in the same area that Andy and I played in, so we've seen Mike for years.
Yeah.
And we know his game and how strong it is when he's playing well. Steve, I have not seen that much.
Yeah, I haven't seen him a lot, but I've seen some of his scores. He had an open table with needing 3 balls yesterday afternoon to beat John Schmidt, but came up short. So he's apparently playing, okay. I've announced with Steve before, and he sees patterns much faster than I do, which maybe doesn't say so much, but you can tell he does know the game. So he took a long hiatus off from the game. He used to play in the 90s on the Joss Tour up in the Northeast. I think maybe won a couple of those events, or certainly placed high. Took a few years off, and he's come back recently, and he kind of likes straight pool now.
Is that where he's from?
Yeah, he's either from Connecticut or that area. So we still got these 2 balls kind of close together down low. He doesn't seem concerned, so he must have a plan for them. I think he probably used the ball on the right for the break. Is that the 7? And probably both of these balls go in the lower right. Might come up a little bit different than he was expecting. Looks like now maybe he'll play 1 in each corner and work onto the break ball. That may be a little straight too. First rack's always a little extra challenging in a morning match. First match of the day. Yeah, you can see him sort of shaking his head. He looks like he's probably going to go 2 rails forward. Okay, there you going. There you go. How about that shot?
That was good, very good.
How about that shot? I'm gonna run out there real quick. Be right back.
I'll update the score. There you go. All right, so are we still on line, Andy? So Mike has the advantage of a long reach, which is why he can leave the cue ball so far below the side pocket on his break shots. There you go. That's the classic issue with that particular shot. If you hit between the 2 balls at the bottom of the rack, you're going to scratch.
So Steve gets an opportunity. Does have to make a long shot to get started here.
He hit that ball with authority to pocket it.
You can always see when players kind of look away from the table. I think that's the look of, well, that could have come out a little bit better, huh? Maybe I should have considered that. I think he might have this ball on the side, but it's a pretty big cut, but he may not really have anything else.
You know, from our angle, it looks like he has the ball on the side, but apparently that's either a more difficult shot than he wants, or he's, or it's off angle and he can't make it. I can't tell from our view, but the way he's acting, it looks like he doesn't have that shot.
Well, he kind of looks like he's looking for a safe spot up there to lead Mike. Well, now he's back to looking in the side.
Well, he may be trying to cut. He may think about the corner here, cutting it in the corner, which is a very difficult shot, but make a.
You can see they're even joking a little bit about it, Mike off camera. Good morning, Shannon Christian.
You're right, Andy. He is playing safe here. So he'll go off the side rail and try and. No, actually, there's a ball on the top rail, on the bottom rail. I can't. So he took a foul. Okay. For you players at home, something I learned just a year ago, and it actually has come up 2 or 3 times in this tournament, is when you take an intentional foul in the way that Steve just did, many of us have the habit of just tapping the cue ball from any direction with the tip of our cue stick. But the rule is that you have to have a forward motion when you do that.
Yes, you do.
You can't just tap it. And I've been playing straight pull a long time, and just learned that a couple of years ago. And Thorsten Holman, who of course is one of the greatest straight pull players ever, said he just learned it last year.
Oh no, I gotta play him.
I mean, that's hard
I
to
gotta
believe,
play him
actually.
at noon. I was dying to call that on him.
Yeah.
I don't think I could bring myself to call it on somebody, but it
No,
is technically true.
it actually happened to him
Did it?
in a match he lost. That
Well,
in the middle of Tom's run, that Tom did that, and um, Thorsten didn't call it. He told him the rule, but he didn't call the foul. But did you know that rule?
I did. In fact, I think Steve Lipsky maybe taught me that rule, and I believe, or possibly Bob Jewett, who writes the rules.
He writes the rules.
But I believe some players will elevate their cue 90 degrees, pointing straight at the table, come down on top of the cue ball and do it, because that's the forward motion and no danger of moving the cue ball much. Now, you have to sort of argue whether that's a double hit at that point, because the cue has nowhere to go. But
yeah, no, it's interesting.
And Steve Kurtz is telling me that Efren got an unsportsmanlike conduct one year at the World Tournament, doing tap at the top of the cue ball. So it's clearly a rule, and it's probably perhaps the least known rule. Yeah,
it's just one that in play, like everyday play, I don't know. Like as I say, I was probably playing straight for 40 years and was unaware of that rule, and I was also unaware of another rule. If a ball is frozen to the rail and both people are pushing at it just to tap it so that it's a fail, the third person has to shoot away.
Has to contact another
rail.
You cannot take 3 consecutive shots to the same rail.
And the reason for that is because you could be standing there all day if two guys didn't want to be the one to shoot away. So the person on the third fail has to shoot away and hit another rail.
And that was a nice shot by Mike. He went right into that one of the 2 problems left, and came out with a nice shot. Still got to get back into these 3. I'm not sure if there's a combination in there, but 3 balls on the left are certainly a concern. Doesn't really have a great break ball. Perhaps he'll use that 13 underneath the rack. So I think he's going to shoot this solid and maybe go 2 rails into that trap, that cluster. Okay, that didn't really come out great. I think that combination perhaps is a little off angle. Come with another shot if he wants to stay at the table here. And he took a look at this combination in the lower left, so not only is he going to take this long shot, he's not really going to roll forward very much.
Well, Steve is back to the table, and that shot wasn't very far off. Hit the point, and that's the end of it.
There's a lot of weight on your shoulders when you're shooting a long shot to set up a combination, and you still have a cluster, and there's only 5 balls left. You really need to be very mentally tough to stay focused on the actual shot, which is the only thing that matters at that point.
So we are trying to figure out, same thing a lot of fans are trying to figure out, which is how he's going to break those 2 balls on the cluster, or what he's going to use as a break shot. I suppose the ball at the bottom close to the bottom rail.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to let go of that ball on the bottom rail and maybe try to use it to break.
The other ball. Yes.
Okay, so
See if something else in mind.
we'll play a few more safeties here.
Yeah, I think he was trying to leave that ball on the bottom rail so he could draw back into the cluster. I don't see why he would want to make a break shot there. He doesn't have another shot. Oh, maybe playing safe.
I see they're having that age-old discussion of whether you mark your score every shot or after.
Well, there's another
just
rule.
after
There's
the
another
round.
rule I don't know.
I don't believe that's a rule. I just believe, at least in America, a lot of times we don't put up the rack score
Until the end.
but we do put up our fouls as they occur.
You know, that's a good point because I did see that come up.
Well, it just confuses things, I think, when you put it up after every shot. And it's easier to make sure it always adds up to 14 minus the fouls. So this came out okay. He's got a good chance to go over there. Could potentially miss it.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't see that ball hang in the corner.
I didn't either.
I thought he made that
I
ball.
did not either.
Which is when he shot the 14.
I got busy watching the 9 ball.
Like, why was he turning the table over?
The cue ball coming off the 9 ball, and
yeah, I think the contrast on the viewer's screen is a little bit better than the contrast we have. So that ball, I did not see it sitting in the corner.
We're looking at a green screen at this point, and then I'm watching it on my phone to try to see the balls. We're I think running out to get a new cable so that the colors show back up. Oh, that was a nice shot right there. They're going to run out of side rail to hide behind here.
That was a pretty nice shot, too. I suppose Mike can actually take another shot here. He's checking to see if the ball go. What ball is that on the rail?
The solid ball.
Yeah. He's checking to see if the ball will go by the ball in the side pocket, because if it is, he's going to shoot it. If not,
can it go in the side off the ball?
yes, he might try to carom it, but
it looks like it's out. That looks like what he played.
All right, that worked out in a certain way. He doesn't have much of a break shot here, but may play safe. If he plays safe, he'll just pocket the ball and leave the cue ball close to the rail, which will cause Steve to have to.
Yeah, and the key here is to try to get to the center of the end rail, force the other player to go 2 rails instead of just 1. Usually in the back of the pack, just taking a foul. If you leave them just the 1 rail, you can sometimes play into it and actually get a ball to the rail and still be safe.
Looks like he's shooting it. Oh, he's playing safe. No, he's playing safe. Yeah. So he did exactly what Andy said. He made the shot and left the cue ball in the center of the rail. So for Steve to hit behind the rack, which is probably the most common safety from here, he's going to have to hit 2 rails.
I think this is actually another little unknown rule, is that you're really not supposed to use the rack to rack these 15 balls back up. Even though they haven't been disturbed, most people let you do it anyway. You're really supposed to place it there like Mike did. So don't expect to get a ball to the rail here. It's just really very dangerous to hit it hard enough to get a ball to the rail. So you just want to make a couple threats. That didn't really threaten. You really want a couple balls to come out to force the other player to stay down on this end of the table, take away the upper part of the table.
Well, the other part of that safety is that when you play that safety, you want to hit in the middle of the rack, just as Steve did. You can see where the cue ball is.
Yeah, he just hit it.
Because if you hit the edges, you can knock a lot of balls loose, and your opponent's going to have some shots.
Well, and look at his cue ball, right? It drifted off, and had he moved the ball out,
he'd have a shot
into the open. You might have a shot in the upper corner.
So.
I'm sorry, wrong. That's not the cue ball. Gotcha.
Mike has to take
so Mike takes a foul there.
A foul.
They actually each took a foul.
So Steve is on the first foul.
Should be 22-2.
And
Mike's gonna.
What he's thinking now is he wants to get off being on the first foul. And
yeah.
Wherever he puts the cue ball, make Mike have to shoot.
Well, he laid that cue ball down on this end rail very nicely. I don't know if Mike can sort of stick the shot on the 9 or whichever stripe that is, kind of out there by itself. He's got to go with a level stroke.
So that was well done. That was very well
done. Yeah, if you leave the cue ball sort of in the center behind here, which early on when you're still disturbing the rack, sometimes you can roll up in there and just spread them all out the other side without giving up a shot. So when you're off on the side like this, as long as there's not a threat down table or ball in the open, it makes it a lot harder for the other person to return the safety.
So strategically, the situation that Steve is in, since nobody's on a scratch, is he doesn't want to take the first scratch because he'll maybe knock a ball a little loose. And then if Mike takes the second scratch, at some point Mike's going to have the first shot. So he has to take a little chance there, which he did, and it came out okay for him. But it didn't have to, unless Mike.
You can see Mike's looking at the space in here now. If it's frozen, he can kind of use a level stroke. And yet another unknown rule. I guess we're just going to have a rule review this morning. On a on a frozen ball, you can use a level stroke and essentially shoot mostly through it. Now, if they're a millimeter apart or a hair apart, you really got to jack up, and you cannot go through that ball at all. So. It's always nice not being the referee on these. So I'm going to hide here in the office. And this is what they're discussing: is whether they can use a level stroke or
not. And they may be looking for a referee.
Yeah.
So here we go.
I'm not here.
Probably our tournament founder will be at the table in a minute. Peter Barrows.
Get Megan to call him.
I think Peter will be at the table. All right.
Okay, I heard the balls were frozen, so
they're in back of us now.
I'm
discussing.
wondering if Peter knows that when the balls are frozen, you can shoot directly through it. Oh, there's our beloved. Now, Peter's telling him he's got to jack up. See, now Peter played in the 50s and the 60s.
Right.
And you would never shoot even a frozen ball with a level stroke. You would jack up. But I don't really believe you have to jack up on this. At least that's my understanding. However, it doesn't really make this shot much harder to jack up. You do got to watch, throwing, whether you want it or not. It looks like maybe it needs to throw a little bit to the right anyway.
Unless Mike's doing something that's unexpected.
I think he might be playing safe.
He's just going to go to the side rail and the back rail here.
No, he's playing.
No, he played the ball.
And it threw too much is what it did.
So he took a shot for whatever reason he had. I don't know, Andy. I think unless we're really off angle here, that wasn't a hard shot to get the cue ball back behind the rack, and it really wasn't going to leave it.
No, it's kind of like he made up his mind that he was going to play that
Shoot,
shot,
yeah.
and then he was told he had to sort of shoot away, and that really messed up the plan because now it just basically threw it out of the pocket. So I think I played four matches so far, and the last 5 straight pool matches I played. I don't think any rules ever came up, but that would be a good rule to know. To be sure, I think it's probably specified in the book. It's possible it's not, and it's just sort of been a convention at tournaments that I've been to that if it's frozen, you can shoot through. Maybe we'll see if Bob Jewett is still around and find out. Well, that's a nice spot to be in right now. He's got a chance to make this solid in the side and perhaps go into the rack. So I don't know that there's anything in there for him. He's going to have to move. We've only got a couple balls left here. Okay.
Well, apparently I overlooked a dead ball.
Good. Yes. You know what? when you break them out, the ball goes in.
Yeah.
But that was a nice shot. He really hit that ball right in the top of that pack, and it came out fine. It's going to go in at some point, obviously, but.
I mean, it's almost a fundamental of straight pool that whenever that rack is disturbed and you come back to the table, you look at the rack before
Yes.
you do anything else.
Because you're right. You're right. Once somebody's tickled the rack, it doesn't take much to line up a shot for it, Karen.
Yes, here we go.
And again, that was a nice shot, and it came out well. He did have the solid back in the side just in case he got completely stuck, but now he's in good shape. I don't know if he'll have an opportunity to move one of those 2 balls and create a break shot, or he'll just go ahead and use one of these 2 balls behind the stack, the 5 ball or the other ball.
No, if he breaks the cluster.
Okay.
So that question is answered when he broke the cluster with the ball on the bottom rail, shooting the ball on the bottom rail, make the cue ball at the cluster. He's going to leave one of those 2 balls for the break shot at the bottom of the rack.
So he's got a pretty good opportunity to play these balls and come up with a decent break shot behind the pack.
There's a nice angle for this shot.
I'm going to run out again, Michael, and grab my laptop so maybe we can see the colors on these balls.
Go for it. All right. Do we update the score, Andy? I'll update it when we. Yeah. All right, so we have 22-16. As the game progresses. Well, Mike Davis is quickly back to the table. And the first thing he's going to do is check the rack and see if anything is dead. He must be happy with something down there. And that's the reason you check the rack before you shoot anything. A lot of less experienced players would have simply taken the ball that was closest to the pocket. He had a very easy shot down there and overlooked checking the rack. So it's typical of most of the good straight ball players that they'll simply try to open up the balls so that each ball has a pocket to cleanly go into, and that's what Mike is working on right now. Just needs to pick off a few balls. Here everything's open. There's really no problem balls for him, so he's just thinking about the way he wants to play the balls in order to leave the break shot. He has a very good break shot on a ball whose number I can't see to the side of the rack, and he has some good key balls to use. So I really would expect Mike to go through this fairly easily and be able to go into the next rack without too much trouble. He had a dead ball, Andy, on your way to adjust the sign.
Wow.
And had he not checked the rack, because he was right on top of the ball at the top of the table, it was hanging there. Had he been less experienced and just shot that ball and played for position, he would have missed that. But he looked at the rack before anything and saw the dead ball. the interesting part of the game, in a certain way, is both players have been going back and forth, and neither of them have been shooting particularly well. But in a case now where Mike has a rack open and a lot of shots where he can stroke out, he could very well get himself in stroke. And at that point, he just becomes a danger to run out. So Mike will shoot this ball in the corner, and then he will take one of those two balls closest to the rack, and he'll leave that ball near the one that's near the side pocket as his key ball.
Right. He'll shoot that 5 now, and then take the 15 or whichever stripe that is back in the side. Keep the 1 for his break shot.
So it looks like he's going to have to go up and down.
I think he may stun and just take a little bit longer of a break shot than perhaps he wanted.
Yes. So the advantage of a player of Mike's height is on break shots, he can leave the cue ball a little bit below the side pocket. A lot of players who are not as tall as Mike have to leave the cue ball at the side pocket or a little bit above it because they have to be able to reach it to get all their power into it.
All right, 35-17.
Might want to announce our sponsors. Fine.
Mike looking at a standard break shot here. He doesn't mind going up table, so we'll see if he goes forward or all the way up table. Okay. Not a huge spread, but he's got the first shot.
He's got the first shot. Right.
Sometimes maybe that's all you...
And
that's sort of the critical point.
And if either of these balls go, he has a pretty easy position to get behind one of them so he can re-break the rack. And that is what he's looking at here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we wrote race to 100. This game is to 100 points. Okay, he actually played safe there. We appreciate everybody sharing the live stream. If you use Facebook Live, you're limited to 3 or 4 hours. So you restart every match and you end up with a new link that everybody needs to sort of find. Should be able to get to it on the Diamond Billiards Richmond Facebook page. You scroll down to the posts. Usually it's the first post. You can also see all the matches from the previous 3 days there.
Oh wow, the color's really good. Yeah, the color. I'm looking at Andy's
We got the
laptop is set up so we can see the colors as good as you can.
Unfortunately, there's like a 10 or 15 second delay, so we're either going to sound like geniuses, predicting every shot and every miss, or we're going to sound the exact reverse and have things. We're going to call things that have already happened. So I believe we're watching the colorless monitor is what they're watching out there, and what I'm watching here is not really sure, but it is a good 15-second delay or so. Depends on what you see out there. Right now, I see Steve addressing the cue ball from the top of the table.
And he made a good save there. He just thinned the ball and came back up table. And a certain way it leaves Mike the same safe. They just have to be careful not to push a ball too far to the.
Yeah, it can be difficult to thin a ball. Now, he didn't get all the way back down table, so Mike, being the experienced player that you mentioned he is, took a look in the rack to see if anything was there. It looks like probably nothing is there. He's going to thin this ball, come back up table, and try not to push the ball out the other side.
There you go.
And that is why they're not getting all the way back down table. More important not to pop out a ball than actually get down table. Of course, you want to work it until you can get them both out there. Okay, so it sounds like there's no delay. So what our watchers are watching is Steve taking a look at the rack and deciding where he's going to play safe off of, or looking for any frozen ball combinations. Thank you, Bob Mills. I think that's what I was told as well. So we'll get the colors from the laptop, but we'll commentate on the green screen. Yeah, Aaron, we'd like to go to 150 or 200, but we're actually still in the round robin until 7 p.m. tonight, when we'll start the single elimination. And we're just going to 125 for the first couple rounds tonight. And then tomorrow in the quarterfinals, there'll be races to 150. And the players seem, despite the shorter races, the players are in favor of this just because many of them are heading down to the U.S. Open. So right now, everybody's still in it and wrapping up their round robin until 6 p.m. Then we will take the top half of the 48-player field, and we'll seed completely. We'll take the winners of the 8 groups, and they'll get a bye into a single elimination chart of the 24 players. And the other 16 will be seeded based on finish in group, record, and ball differential if it comes to it. And we'll seed them 1 through 24 the whole way. And 9 through 24 will play in the 7 o'clock round, and the winners of that will play the winners of the group in the 9 o'clock round or 9:30 round. So we're going to go pretty close to midnight tonight, would be my guess. I think he possibly missed that on the way in and maybe fouled.
One of the other reasons the players like games usually don't exceed 150 points is because sometimes they have to play, as the tournament comes to a close, 2 or 3 rounds in one day, and the concentration it takes to do that is hard on them. So in reality, they do prefer, I think, the matches to 150. I think they feel are a fair test. They'll get enough chances to, make the shots they need if they're playing well to get out, and if not, they're satisfied. I think the final is going to be 200.
No, I think it's 150. We always sort of put in the program that it'll be to 200, and
the players always want
those
150.
Players are like,
at the end,
I need to be getting into 9-ball mode here. Got a little tournament down the road called the U.S. Open, and so they're all typically like, how about we just play to 150? And it's usually a late night anyway, so they're good with that.
And on the same day, they've at least played 2 other matches, I think. So,
yes, I believe at least the A players are playing 2 matches today, or most of them are. There were a couple matches played ahead of time.
You're right. So we're going to be here quite late tonight, folks, and we hope you'll join us all day for really what is probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, straight pool fields ever assembled in the history of straight pool.
Certainly in recent years. Let's see if I can find the payout. Pretty sure first place is 10,000.
Second
is 6,000. Third, fourth is. Here we go. Third, fourth is 3,000. Fifth through eighth, 1,500. Ninth through 16th, 900. And 17th through 24th, 650. Sort of double their entry fee. So it's a pretty nice payout here. Certainly, a lot of that goes to the Dorsey family, the owners here at Diamond Billiards, for putting up a substantial amount of the prize fund. And Peter Burrows, the tireless promoter, hitting everybody up for donations and so on. So some of our sponsors, you can see there in the background, Aramith Balls, I1 Simonis, Cloth, one of the primary sponsors year after year. We thank them, of course.
And I have to say that Simonis Cloth has been very, very generous. Each year they've added more to the prize fund than the year before. And they have been with this tournament since it started, was 13 years now.
Yes, I think you're right. I think Peter has worked with them from the beginning.
So
they've been very, very helpful in that case.
Very supportive.
And for me, I've been playing mostly just the last 30 years, maybe, not quite 30 years. I mean, Simonis has been the standard for good cloth on the table. There's other competitors now, but certainly Simonis is still the premier.
And it's Ivan Lee who's really operating Simonis, and he's been very, very, very good to this tournament.
Also, lights out billiard apparel. Jake Lawson, you've probably been seeing that gear going around. It is the rage. Very popular, very fine quality billiards apparel. You see some of the players at various tournaments all wearing this gear. Kamui Tips. Kamui Some of the best tips you can find. We got a player representative here. I think your son, Darren Frank. I'll probably tell you about Kamui in the next some of the future stream matches coming up. Just looking at this 7 ball in the upper right corner. And this focus is a little off there.
Well, my son Darren did spend 6 months in Japan. He's with Kamui, going through Kamui operations. He is a representative for Kamui now back in the States, but he was very impressed with the quality control in developing the Kamui tips. That was a nice shot. He got a perfect angle to break the balls here.
Yeah, you probably go into that 3 ball, and you can expect a pretty good spread here, even without too much force.
And he got it. So in a shot like that, Andy, you knew exactly what ball he wanted to hit with the cue ball after he made the break shot.
Yeah.
How do you determine that?
It's just because it's close enough. You have to just kind of, if you're a position player, I'm more a position player than a shot maker, so I'm used to judging where my cue ball's going. That's only 5 or 6 inches there. It's pretty predictable. He was kind of had to go there. It's very useful to be able to predict your cue ball, even within a quarter of an inch over the first foot. You know, look at the tangent line, those kind of things to decide. If you just kind of stop shot it, you'll go along that tangent line. It's making it very predictable hit.
So I have to say, we're watching 2 screens at the same time, and because there's a delay for the viewers, about 15 seconds behind the actual shot. So it's almost like watching 2 games. watching Mike shoot the shot he just shot and the shot he's shooting at the moment.
Take off this 8 ball. Not too sure what break ball he's going to use here, but maybe he'll. Oh, I see. Looking at the wrong screen. Looks like the 10 will be a good break shot. Disappear this 13.
And I believe I heard for one of the matches yesterday, we had a viewership that was over 50,000.
Yeah. Throughout the life of the match, yes. I think right now there's 450 watching early in the day. People will come in and out, take a quick look, and then stop watching. Maybe got a little bit too straight here on this either 6 or 2 ball. It's going to have to really sort of slap this ball at a pretty firm speed and pop off the rail back towards the center of the table, and perhaps a little bit further even. Okay, well, he must have had more angle than I thought. He's a little straight, but it'll be workable. 13. Go up 48-17.
When is the first A match? Do you know offhand?
At noon. I believe in the next match, which at this point is likely going to start a little bit after noon, perhaps 12:30. As soon as this one is done, will be Alex Paguline versus Jim Gazafi. All the A players play the F players at noon. And then after that, I think maybe we have Sean Wilkie and Daryl Peach in the 2 o'clock round. Should be a good one. Probably the winner, possibly the winner gets in and the loser does not into the single elimination. And if I remember how that bracket was going. Then the 4 o'clock round, I believe, is going to be Mr. Ralph Souquet in his first appearance at our event, playing Warren Camco, who finished tied for third a couple of years ago in our event.
And Ralph has been playing. I think he lost his first match.
Yes, he did.
Then he ran 100 out in the second match, and he won his match yesterday. So he's playing quite well at this point.
Yeah, there are quite a few players playing well. Mike gave himself a perfect shot here. He's got no insurance when he shoots his 8-ball, but I think you'll see probably a pretty powerful shot. Now, you can get stuck here. If you're following this, you gotta follow like you mean it. And he hit it good and firm, but like you can see,
well, that's an interesting break shot, because if you use a draw stroke, you go into the rack. But as Mike is now stuck, and if you use a follow shot, you run the risk of scratching. But if you don't scratch, you're usually going to come off the side rail and the bottom rail and get out toward the center of the table, where you're going to be in a lot better shape.
Yeah, it looks like this 6 maybe goes in the side. Uncomfortable bridge, but shooting the stripe in the upper right corner isn't really any better. So that is just a
Very good shot.
Fine shot. You can set that ball up at home, all jacked up, and see how you do. It's not an easy shot by any means.
I'm sure he's practiced that shot once or twice in his pool career.
Everybody practices position and shot making. You should practice the uncomfortable bridges as well.
Exactly right.
Practice a little left-handed or opposite-handed is always helpful, especially in straight pool. You can reach more shots comfortably.
And one thing you will notice in the players who play a lot of straight pool is they are very comfortable when they have the bridge in their hands.
Yep.
Even if they have to use 2 bridges, one on top of the other, to get to a shot in the back of the rack, they're comfortable with that shot.
When you got a mess of balls in the middle, that comes up quite a bit. Yeah, so you mentioned Ralph Souquet playing well. Saw on the chat here, looking for predictions. Certainly Lee Van Corteza is playing great. Thorsten is playing great. I tell you what, Alvin Ocean, his first time here, he's run 100 out a couple times. Dennis Orculo has done it at least twice, if not 3 times. And Lee Van did it right here on this diamond table, which is a nice fair table. The other tables you can see in the background are Brunswick's a little bit easier pockets for sure.
It's an interesting question. In terms of prediction, I mean, if I guess I was backed into a corner at the moment, I guess I would say it this way: of certainly the younger players, I would have to say that Alvin Ocean is just incredibly impressive as a player.
And I played him the first day, and I was very proud of myself. I won the first rack, and I had him 14, and he took a foul. I'm not sure why he was scared of me, but he took a foul. So I had him 14 to -1, and I lost the safety battle. And he ran 56, missed a shot. I made 11, and then he ran out. So
yeah, he hasn't had too
and
many games in too
I
long.
watched him in his very first match on the first day. He ran 99 out,
Right.
and then
Against
yesterday he just looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
Running 100 out. So
he actually, to start his 100 now, he played a ball from behind the rack where he had to make a carom off the back of the rack with the cue ball. In other words, he had to hit 2 rails before it went into the back of the rack where the ball was dead, and he pocketed it and ran 100 and out. So, or 99 and out from there.
And even when he played Thorsten, I think on the stream match, Thorsten ran, I think, 84 in the beginning, got stuck, and I'm not sure how Alvin got to the table, but he ran 60 or so, and then either missed or played safe and lost safety battle, and then Thorsten ran out. So even in his loss, he played, good. Just his opponent took a 2-inning game.
In a longer sequence, it was a lot longer sequence. I think probably the biggest threat to run well into the hundreds, if not more, would be Thorsten Holman. It just seems that he has that capability. He played an exhibition match before this tournament started and ran 169 from the break, having just gotten off the plane flying over from, I think, Asia. So he's always, it's hard to discount him in any tournament. But if I had to pick 2 right now, I think I'd pick Alvin Ocean and Ralph Zerke. It's just the knowledge and experience and the number of tournaments that Ralph has won in a straight pool and the number of people he's competed against in all his years make him formidable. And he's won so many distinguished titles that it's if he gets in a position to win, he's got a pretty good chance of winning. So those are my predictions, and I'm wrong all the time, but in any event.
So you see, Mike had to take off that one a couple shots ago. That one was clearly in the rack. Hit a nice 2 or 3 railer and came up on a spot where you can actually pocket this 3 and go 1 rail into the side of the stack. Just got to watch your scratch. A lot of things can go wrong, but you do have an opportunity to probably hit the rack.
And Mike, although Mike has an unusual stroke, he has a very powerful stroke. So why is it so important the balls are frozen, Andy?
Well, if they're a little bit loose, when you run into them, they don't really spread out. They can pop out. If they're frozen, just a little bit of force just goes right along the connecting points and the ball pops out the other side. So you really need to, you can see they're racking their own. A lot of people are doing that.
He's laboring over the rack.
A lot of people are doing that in this tournament. And on this particular shot, you may not want to hammer the rack for fear of scratching. So you may be coming in at just a medium speed. He wants to make sure ball pops out below the rack especially so that he has a shot. Now, if you do run into the top of the rack, you got to be accurate to pull that off. You have less chance of scratching, of course. So here we go. Now he did go into the top, but there's that scratch. So even off the top, he can scratch.
All right, he's about to shoot here on your screen.
Yeah.
He's already shot on our
We
screen.
get the instant replay.
Right.
Basically, hit the top right ball and scratched in the corner. And he didn't particularly hammer it, but so he has left Steve a nice opportunity to try to get something going here.
Yeah, he really did get a bad break because that's not one you're typically.
Yeah, well, it can happen.
Yeah, it can happen. That's for sure. It did
It
happen.
can happen on any one of those 4 balls on the side.
It did happen.
Sometimes it hits a couple of them.
Yeah, it's still a tough roll from there, especially the way he broke them. Yeah, it's such a difficult hit and opening the balls. But that brings Steve back to the table,
And he immediately went in. And you can see even going in with a lot of force doesn't necessarily produce much output, you know. It may have still been, may still have had high English by the time he reached the rack, and it wasn't really as much force as it looked like. He does have a shot, though. You know, he knew he had that insurance there, so that's why I went in. Now here is where it's nice to be tall and reach over, and you gotta see he looks pretty comfortable there.
So the reason he can go into the rack from the back of it so quickly is because he has those balls so close to the pocket. He knows he's not going to get stuck. And they're typically called insurance balls.
Yeah.
And the good players usually will always try to leave an insurance ball when they're going into the rack. So Steve has been struggling in the early stages of the game, and we'll see if he can.
So look for it to come two rails into the left side of the stack here, probably. Sure, what's happening? Or at least he hit one ball. Yeah, it wasn't really set up too well to go into 3 and the 5, which would have been more ideal.
So unless he has a dead ball here,
That's the 7 ball. It just doesn't look like he can really.
Yeah, he's.
Maybe he's looking around, and you kind of got to. But even shooting the ball down table, it's quite a bit of work to come around 3 rails.
Yes, it is.
There aren't really any other shots on this 10 ball sitting down here low, and he's really looking at something here. Probably the 6 ball, perhaps the 6 off the 3. Karen.
Yeah, at this stage of the match, I mean, he's just, if it's close, he's going to play it.
Yeah, there really isn't a lot of future in hammering this ball in the upper left and hoping you're going to come around perfect on this 10 ball for a break shot.
Or right. Or even be able to hit it or shoot it or
if
pocket
you've got the patience, maybe the right play is just make the ball up there and play safe. But he's really now he's looking at the 7 ball off the 6, which.
Well, the other reason he's doing that, I think, as Andy pointed out, if he plays safe here, which he's probably going to do, or if he doesn't. But if he did, he doesn't want to leave a dead ball in the stack, so he's going to check it out pretty carefully. But he's playing for position with the 10, it looks like.
Well, that's an easy shot to miss.
So he missed it and came around and didn't get position. See if he left Mike anything at all. He left Mike a shot, but it's makeable. He left him a difficult shot, but it's a makeable shot. So the question in shooting a shot like this is whether there's any reward for shooting it in terms of being able to go into the pack or knock a ball out so you have a next shot, or even get down to positioning on the 8 ball at the top of the table. So Mike is choosing to shoot the ball to the side of the rack.
Yeah, maybe this 6 ball there. Okay. Shot the 5 and let Steve off the hook a little bit here. I mean, it's not easy shooting off the rail on the side from below like that. Steve gets right back at the table. Well, can get started with a 6-ball and try to make something happen.
So Mike really did know that he was taking a little bit of a gamble there on a very difficult shot, but he also knew if he made it, it would open up the rack for him, which it did. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, so it opened up the rack for Steve. So we'll see if Steve can capitalize.
Well, he's going to go right in here off the 5. Now again, he's going to hit maybe the 9, maybe the ball below it, like the ball below it, and did not come out fantastic.
If he's frozen on those balls, which I cannot see.
Not frozen, but he's very close. You see him looking away?
Yeah,
that'll tell you that he
he's
doesn't have a
not
shot.
happy. Yes,
I'm pretty sure I do the same thing.
I'm pretty sure.
I see a lot of players doing that when they kind of look off into space, like, that didn't have to come out so badly.
Exactly, and which you can't. It's a good thing you probably can't hear what he's mumbling under his breath either.
Might be some swear words. I don't know if he's got like a 1 6 or 1 5. What is that? 1 3 combination, or if the one maybe goes past the 3. So he's shaking his head. No, none of them go. Still staring into space. There's really no answers up there.
So the other shot that straight pool players have to practice a lot is the one he's going to shoot, which is going to be over these balls, and he's going to have to shoot the ball in the corner pocket.
At not scratching the upper left, because you can't do anything but go forward.
Right. But I actually, in watching Ralph Silkay's match yesterday, he made 4 of these shots in a row where he's over balls with an entire rack in front of him.
He's in quite a bad spot here.
Well, he's trying. I don't know what maybe he can see something he feels he can spin in. I don't know.
I think maybe he could make this 1 past the 3. But you're pretty much going to be shooting from the center of the table here, so. Unless you're 6 foot 2 or 3, you can't really be making that shot. Watch a double hit here too, especially with the 2 balls.
Oh, he tried to play a camera, which was not a bad idea from there.
Yeah, there was either half a pocket or a combination. He really was in a bad spot because that 8 in the upper corner wasn't any good either.
I can't pull it back fast enough for something I found it. The ball was in the way.
So Mike is quickly back at the table with a shot he's not going to miss.
That won't require the bridge or jacked
Yeah,
up
or
staring off into space.
Right, and he doesn't have to worry too much because all the balls are open here, so he's just going to go with a pattern that he's most comfortable with. Looks to me like he has a great shot.
Yeah, the 7 ball is just fine. Really no issues. I mean, there's no great key ball, but there's so many ways to get towards the left middle of the table.
There we go. So he's in pretty good shape here. As we
So we'll see how good his position is here. The 8 ball being a long way from a pocket. Need to get exactly. Got a plan though. Looks like perhaps he's straight on this ball, but a little close to the rail. Can't really bring it back comfortably. So, but he does need to come back at least a few balls, couple balls.
So he had to take a big angle,
Longer shot.
a longer shot to create the angle because he didn't get exact positioning going on shooting that ball in the side pocket. He wanted to just be able to draw it back a little bit, be 4 or 5 inches closer to the break shot, but he has a break shot and a good angle.
Looks like they got 7 apiece that rack.
So aside from pocketing the ball, what's he concerned about here?
Well, you don't want to stick to the pack. I mean, the 7's a good ways away. It's a little less predictable. You got to focus on that shot a lot more. You're probably going to hit that top strike ball there. It's probably got to be a firm or either. Okay, well, there you go. A whole lot of nothing.
Right. So the issue on that shot is he wanted to pocket the ball, so he didn't want to take a chance on running into the rack and scratching on the corner, so he didn't use high English. If he had used high English, I have to say from that angle, I doubt he would have scratched, and the balls would have opened up, and he probably would have been out in the center of the table.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if you draw that ball, you're probably not going to stick. But it makes the shot, a little bit harder. So, especially when the 7 was that far from the pack, if it's a little closer, you can use a little less draw, and you're still not going. You're going to just pop off the stack a little bit. But he doesn't give up a lot. He had an easy safe on the 8 ball there, or the 4 ball, I suppose. On the 8 ball. So now, if you look at the table, I mean, he's really got Steve somewhat in a jam. Ball's a little bit open on the side. Could maybe thin the ball, come down to the end rail. That's a little dinger, so that'll.
He got away with it though.
Sometimes being right on the right part of the ball really makes a big difference in how effective the safety is. And because he's really right on this ball, he's really taken away a lot of the table. He can't really go up table. If you could go to the up right corner, that's a fairly safe area, except the combination. He's got him in a little bit of a bad spot. Can try to go in there between the 2 and the.
Mike's going to play the bank on this ball, and it's on a good angle for the bank, so I actually think he has a very good chance of making this ball. Nah, a little short. So it brings Steve back to the table with a relatively decent layout. He has a lot of opportunities to get back into the rack and open it in. A lot of shots that are open already. So, he missed that. Look at that. Just goes to show you, anything can happen. I'm sure he's very unhappy with himself.
Yeah, that was a little surprising.
Yeah,
It wasn't really too much to think about there.
So that's one of the things that makes straight pool such a difficult game is the concentration on every shot because of the positioning you need to keep, to be breaking up clusters. To sustain that concentration over a few hours in every match is really a different experience than keeping your concentration through a rack of 8 ball or through a rack of 9 ball.
So it looks like he's going to opt for the 2 ball here, which is a nice shot. Should open things up. He drew that back, knowing he would have this 11 ball. So he's still got some work to do, but he's going to have the opportunities to rearrange balls and get there. I'd love to get this 8 ball out of here if there's room. Not sure he's comfortable with the spacing. Looks like Mike may use his ball on the side and try to fix one of those 2 problem areas. Or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that might have been a hazardous shot for the reasons you know. I mean, he doesn't hit it exactly the way he wants it. He's going to be stuck, but this way he's got some open shots, and he's got opportunities here to go into that cluster from his next shot. Not the one on the rail, but the one at the center of the table. I don't see a break ball.
Well, the one is a break ball.
Oh, yeah, it
but
is,
I
yeah.
believe it
Right.
Possibly moves it right now.
Yeah.
It's a little undecided.
Yeah,
So his head pop up a little bit there.
He's
he kind of wants to roll into this 6-8 and rearrange it, but
may not have a shot afterward.
those balls were lined up in the side. The 1 and the 3, so he wouldn't have a clear shot unless he comes up on the 6 or the 8. But that would maintain your break ball.
Yes.
Really, if you can really last without the break ball, just not so sure it can last.
At this stage, he doesn't really hit it, so there goes his break ball.
Yeah, I think
that is not what he wanted to do, folks.
wasn't in the plan.
That wasn't in the plan.
I do think he has I do think the 1 ball does come through this alley, so at least he still had to favor. And it did actually rearrange the 5 ball a little bit, so perhaps that'll be enough.
There you go. That was a good shot. He got himself back in line.
He came on this 3 ball exactly where he wanted to be. Certainly go into the 11, 10-4 maybe, 14-4, those 2 balls, and in worst case have to play the combination. Well, he broke them apart, but
he didn't.
I wouldn't say it's a whole lot better now with that ball frozen
That's
on the
right.
rail.
But it's true. They're broken up. They're not improved.
So it looks like you can go rail first and get this bottom wall. Probably come out on the 5 in the side. A little bit
He
softish.
really has a problem with that the ball that's frozen on the rail. Is that the 12 ball?
Yeah, whichever that stripe is. I think it probably clears the 8 to go in the corner, but I think since he never solved the 6-8, he's looking at, you know what, I'm just going to have to play a combination on that anyway. And on the bright side, when he plays that 6-8, that's 6 back towards the break shot.
It's pretty close to it. He's probably around 80 now. You got a very fortunate hole there.
Well, that was maybe my 15th choice there. Not quite sure how that ball still goes in.
Yeah, neither am I, but still.
But you know what?
But it's in, and he still shot at the table.
And the 8 ball is below the rack for a break shot. So he's either a genius
Players
or really,
that
really
have just
lucky.
entered the room. This is not starting for a new match yet. We need all the A players and F players to come up for a picture in front of the charts. Don't leave on the diaries.
Well, they asked for the 8 players there. I may have to leave you for my picture. It's not that I'm in the A group, but I am.
No, I
the
know
F
you're in the
group,
picture.
So I'll be in the next picture.
Yeah, I get that part.
I am going to leave you here on the stream. It looks like 82, 24. See if Mike continues to capitalize on that nice roll there. All right, this has been Andy Lincoln. I'm leaving you with Michael Frank. See you later.
Well, we have Mike Davis working his way through this this rack, and if he's able to manage that, he will just need a few balls to end the match. So he would like to leave the ball that's out by itself as the break ball, but it's too early in the rack, and he needs to shoot that now to get position on the ball that's almost adjacent to it. He'll probably play that in the side pocket and then use the ball on the side of the rack to re-break the rack. He doesn't have a lot of options. He has to re-break here. He has to reopen the cluster of balls. None of this works for him. And that's how he's going to go through this rack. So the nice thing about this shot is he has a lot of balls that will carry him into the clusters that are there, and that should open these pretty nicely for him, which it did. Now here, by playing the ball that he's going to play in the corner, he can hit this softly and create a break shot. Well, he's going to choose an alternate pattern here. He's going to shoot something inside. So apparently the ball beside the rack is already outside the rack, and he has a break shot. The only thing he has to worry is about those two balls on the side rail, and he might go over for those now, which he did. Now, I think he's going to shoot the ball towards the top of in the corner pocket, towards the top of the table, and be able to clear out that ball that's closest to the top rail. And the reason for this is it puts all the balls in play, and they're all close to one another for the future of the rack. So once he clears this ball from the top of the table, then he really only has to clear off 4 balls before he has a break shot at the bottom of the table. So the general rule is you want to clear out clusters where they are, so that you don't have to keep going back and forth up and down the table. And by shooting those 2 balls in the order that he did, Mike avoids that problem, because now everything he has to shoot at is at this end of the table. So,
other than the live stream match, here we go. On table 4, we have Darren Appleton and Zion Z. On table 15, Johnny Archer and Sean Alaska Morgan. On table 10, Neil Spain and Darren Frank. On table 5, Torsten Homan and Andy Lincoln. On table 7, Vika Immonen and Rob Polo. And on table 16, John Schmidt and Michael Jednick. Players, you may lag or break.
So, Mike, that's slightly out of line there, and he's probably going to have to play his first choice for break ball now, but he has the 10 ball for a break shot. No, so he had to play the 10 ball. What happened there is he intended to play the 10 ball in the opposite corner pocket, but he got out of line and had to play it across to come down, and it left him a much worse angle for this break shot than he would have had otherwise. So the score now is 96-24, and Mike is a very seasoned tournament player who's used to playing under this kind of pressure. So I expect him to make this shot and win the match, even though it's difficult. I mean, he's used to this kind of pressure, and we'll see. So Mike needs 3 balls from here. I'm looking to see if he has the ball by the corner pocket, which I think he does. And then it's a question of just what he wants to play for to get out. He's looking for the combination. If the combination on the bottom rail went, that would make life a little bit easier. But I think Mike will close it out from here. Well, so he intended to come behind the ball that he hit and shoot that in the opposite corner, but he bumped it. So now he's left himself a little trouble because he didn't really want to play this combination, but he's going to have to. Well, I guess there isn't any circumstance that it goes, so he's going to have to shoot a pretty hard shot to get out of all this. Well, unexpectedly, Steve gets another opportunity with Mike Davis needing only 2 balls to win the match.
Also, we have Miss Karen Core and Dennis Robb on 203.
So Steve is methodically working his way through the rack. So he does have a break shot. It seems that the pattern would be to shoot the ball he's close to the rail in the corner pocket. So this will take him to the ball in the side pocket. I have to wait to see how this pattern unfolds, since I would have played this ball first. And then shot the 4 ball into the opposite corner, and I would have left the 2 balls at the bottom, because the 8 ball in the side pocket would have been a good key ball for any break shot he ends up with. But in any event, he will have to get position on the ball closest to the bottom rail and draw back and come out for the break shot. Unless this passes. Okay, so that pattern brings him out for a nice break shot. And as soon as they update the score, I will too. $98 to 36. Mike Davis. Nice shot by Steve Matthieu. And the balls are open as he continues his run. And we should see Mike close it out here. He needs 2. Steve may have conceded. I'm not sure. But once he unscrews his cue, it's over. $99. And 100. Steve conceded the match when he missed that ball, so Mike's just shooting out. So we have a final score. Mike Davis 100,